Well, our County Commissioner's visit is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And I guess I should amend that and say our County Commissioner visit this morning. Sherene Hess is with us. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful. It's good to have you with us today. Commissioner Ruddick couldn't be here.
Correct.
Of course, we're about to go through the transition. A new Board of Commissioners will be sworn in next month.
Correct. December 27th.
December 27th.
We take the oath of office.
Yeah.
Right?
So in the month of December, there are many organizations that have to shuffle their schedules with holidays and with everything else. And at the end of a year, particularly in elected office, there are shufflings that go along and personnel and everything. So you'll meet for a budget before that, before Christmas.
Right. December 18th is the Commissioner's public meeting, and we will introduce the budget, and that will be, our spending plan and our revenue plan for 2020.
And then in 2020, you all get together again after everybody's sworn in, and off you go on a whole new term and a whole new era for Indiana County elected officials.
Right. But before that, it will be on what they say display, our draft budget. So the public is invited to take a look at that and ask any questions and so on. So we'll be presenting that draft at the next meeting in November, so November 27th.
Yeah.
So that draft will be on display.
So that is, the official meeting schedule, but there's all kinds of things that happen between meetings. And one of those is, and I'm glad you wanted to talk about this today, because I know others of the commissioners and you as well have talked about CCAP.
Yep. CCAP, County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's our industry-related kind of a membership organization, and they lobby at the state level and the federal level for us, so that counties cover a lot of territory, human services and public safety, and jails and courts and all manner of things. And we need somebody at that state and federal level that knows those issues and knows how the legislation will affect us at the county level.
I would guess that a CCAP meeting is a really, really valuable thing for any commissioner.
Yes, it is. And I'm very excited to be going there. This will be my fifth CCAP conference, actually, at this time of the year. When I was newly elected, I went to what they call the newly elected officials training, which is what this is. Plus, it's the winter conference for the old folks there, the veterans. And so I was really excited, and it was just an amazing experience to be with my peers and to get a sense of what county government really was going to be, and basically hold on to your socks, as they say, because it was overwhelming.
Yeah. So Sherene Hess in 2019, speaking to Sherene Hess in 2016, what would she tell her?
Oh, that's a good question. I would just say, don't try to take on too much. Be present, and understand that things take time. What I've learned is a lot of the projects we've worked on, just by nature of government being involved and it being, the need for transparency and the way money works, you need to be very patient. But good things do happen.
Absolutely. All right. So what are you looking forward to about CCAP this year?
Well, I'm part of the Elections Reform Committee, and I'm co-chair of that, actually. And that was CCAP's top legislative priority, was to figure out how we were going to do funding for the election, the replacement of the election systems. And that happened. That whole scene through Act 77, the legislature passed Act 77, bipartisan support for a bunch of election reforms. So now it's going to be a matter of implementing those reforms, and the county commissioners will work with the newly appointed Secretary of State, Kathy Bukvar. So we're excited about that. Elections is one of the things that has always been a part of county government, and we consider it to be the underpinning of everything that we do. Is the voters select who they want to be their leaders, and we need to have safe and secure types of equipment and a process. Yeah, and that's what we at county government take very seriously.
On a statewide level, and even on a federal level, it eventually trickles right down to the county level, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. We are kind of at the mercy of the legislature who makes those laws and the departments that do the write the regulations. But we have to deliver those programs, and we have to figure out how to do it with the resources that we have. And it's very difficult to increase those resources. There are not too many means to do it other than taxes. But that is one thing I think that we have an opportunity and it's our charge to find those resources within our communities and outside of our communities.
So we had an election a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And Indiana County seems to have sailed through with no problems.
Yes, we did. I'm really impressed with our election services team at the courthouse and all the folks who work at the polls, the poll workers, the judges of elections, the inspectors. Everybody does their job, and it's not that things can't go wrong, but when they do, and it's been rare, but it does happen, people jump into action and they use their training. We have a very strong training program. They use that training, and they get it fixed. And we work together with our the courts if we need to get the judges involved, and we get things done.
So you'll take that information and those experiences of this most recent election with you to CCAP, and you'll hear some issues, I'm sure, from other counties about, well, this went right or this went wrong with our election, and that would seem to me the real strength of CCAP is that you can work on it collaboratively and find solutions. Yes,
exactly. That's well said. You always do better when you have that collaboration. You have many voices speaking together. And what CCAP does really well is they have a wonderful staff that are very good at convening and very good at guiding and leading, so that we can be informed about the decisions we need to make. Yeah. And not only will we work on elections reform, but we will talk about the substance use disorder problem that is still something we're all grappling with. We will talk about child welfare, and we'll talk about parole reform, and just any number of hot topics, basically, that are out there for county officials.
Yeah, and that's why it's so valuable, because there are some issues that are going to come up that probably are not big issues here in Indiana County, but people will raise them there, and you'll say, I can see that coming. That might be something that we need to get to work on now, so that we're not in the situation that this county finds itself in.
Yeah, it's a really good point, and that's another thing I think that leaders do is we try to address the problems of today, but think about what are we going to experience in the next year or 5 years or 10 years, and try to find the best ways to deal with them. It's that's always the age-old quest, is to figure out how we solve tomorrow's problems with today's resources.
That setting of priorities for your overtures with the legislature, is there a lot of debate that goes on at CCAP meetings to say that this is the position we want to take, or this is not the position we want to take? Is there a lot of back and forth?
There's a structure there, and there's a board, and then there's the resolutions committee, and so we do have a number of resolutions that are based upon recommendations from all the committee leaders. So there are a number of committees: the Agriculture Committee, the Economic Development Committee, the Elections Reform Committee, the Human Services. There's a number of those committees. So there is a process where the membership gets to have input, to their committee leaders, and then those committee leaders work with the Resolutions Committee to determine how to prioritize those concerns, and then how to, what are the practical ways you're going to work with the legislature on those. And we always hope that our legislators ask us for input, and they do a lot. We have a great legislative team, work together real well, and a lot of counties struggle in that department, but it's messy.
Sure.
Government is messy. You're trying to serve the needs of 12 million people in one state. It's tough.
Well, there are philosophies too. Philosophies get in the way sometimes, and sometimes they facilitate. But just working around everybody's differing viewpoints and perspectives really can become a strength rather than a detriment to making something actually happen.
Right on.
And that's the way that it should be. Anyway.
Agree, at the county level especially.
Yeah. Well, from the county level, Indiana County, of course, is very concerned. Our lawmakers this week introducing the Reggie legislation, Senator Pittman and Representative Struzzi. Twin bills in the state legislature just announced on Tuesday. And it's really concerning from an employment standpoint for Indiana County. This seems like a really crucial time, doesn't it?
It does. That is some an area that we need to really work on. We in Western Pennsylvania, we know that our jobs situation would take a real hit if there is a carbon tax. So we're trying to figure out, and I'm not up on that legislation as much as I'm going to be
it's
soon.
Fresh, yeah.
It's fresh, but it is important. It has a direct effect on us, and I know there's going to be some more discussions on that. So the commissioners passed a resolution to support the necessity of work. Telling the governor that this isn't going to work for lots of parts of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to some discussions on that, but at the same time talking about how are we going to solve these issues that do affect a number of Pennsylvanians in terms of air quality and water quality and basic public health and climate change and all of those concerns too. So balancing all of those things is going to be tough, but we're here. I got elected to serve the people of Indiana County, and that's what I intend to do.
All right. So there you go. Those are some of the issues. And CCAP sounds like it is going to be very interesting. Now, when is it? So
it starts Saturday. That's when the committees will all start to meet, and the board of directors meets. And I'm not part of the board. Well, I guess I am actually. I am part of the board by virtue of being a co-chair of that committee.
Yeah.
I just remembered that. But Commissioner Ruddick has served in many forums, and he's been a great leader in terms of the property or the assessment task force and the veterans task force. So he's done those things. Commissioner Baker served. Commissioner Banco. I think it goes. We have a long tradition of being very involved in that, and that's good. We need to have Indiana County's voice at that table too.
Absolutely, leadership is very important. Sherene Hess, Indiana County Commissioner. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Appreciate so much that you're able to accommodate us here with this scheduling this week. It's something else. It's 8:25 in the morning. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM. Boomer is here.